Hello YouTube, and welcome to Collecting Tips. So this is a new series I'm going to be starting for you guys, the viewers, and this is just going to be me telling you guys tips and whatnot about video game collecting that I've learned over the years. I've been a video game collector for an incredibly long amount of time, and because of that I've learned a decent amount on how to go about this hobby in the most successful way possible. And that's why on today's video we're going to start with, I believe, one of the hardest topics in video game collecting, and that's what to do with crappy sports games with like NBA in the Zone 99. So I have a couple of tips I can give you guys for what to do with a game like NBA in the Zone 99. So the first thing that I want to tell you guys is to look at the back. If you have a cartridge-based game like this, you can look at the back, and if you have a game that your back isn't in as good of condition as this one, you can just swap out the backs real easily, and just like that, your better game, like Snowboard Kids or something like that, will now be worth a little bit more money. Not a lot, but a little bit, and it'll also look nicer. The next thing is, if it's a crappy sports game, GameCube game like this one, Cabela's Dangerous Hunts, you can just swap the cases out and you have a good GameCube game case. And that's really useful because GameCube games and GameCube game cases are just becoming more and more rare / hard to find. So being able to salvage crappy sports game cases and use them for something good, like good game cases, is always useful. The next thing you can do is, if you end up with a spare console, say you end up with a spare Nintendo 64, you can just bundle in those sports games that you have with the Nintendo 64 and charge another $10, $15 for people who are just getting into the hobby and everything like that. They'll see your console and see that it comes with a couple games, and it'll make the investment a little bit easier for them, because they'll be like, oh well, at least with this one I get a couple games. They're not good games, but they're games nonetheless. And it's just one of those small little things that I think not enough collectors think about. And finally, and this is the big one that I recommend, and that's lotting them all together. So right here I have 15 Nintendo 64 sports games. We have, let's see, FIFA 99, Strike Zone, NBA in the Zone 2000, World Cup, all those crappy sports games that nobody wants. So what I do is, if you want them all together in around a lot of, 13, 10, and then you include one or two decent games. Here we have Deadly Arts and Aero Fighters Assault, one or two decent games. If you want them in with one or two decent games, altogether this is 15 games. You go on Facebook groups and you find a Facebook group and you post, hey, trying to trade these, send me what you got to trade. Chances are somebody will respond to you, and the reason why is because there's always going to be one person who's going for a complete set of a collection, a complete Nintendo 64 set, a complete PS1 set, whatever, and they want your sports games because they don't want to pay for crappy sports games. Nobody wants to pay for crappy sports games, so you can end up lotting these all together, which is what I did. And when you lot them all together, you can get some pretty good games. So I'm going to show you guys what I traded away to a fellow collector, and I'm going to then do a jump cut, and when I do the cut, I'll show you guys what I got. So these are the 15 that I'm trading away. FIFA 99. Mike Piazzo's Strike Zone, NBA in the Zone 2000, Madden 99, Knockout Kings 2000. I think you guys are starting to get the gist. These are all sports games. Let's see. Fox College Sports 99, NFL Quarterback Club 99, NASCAR 99, which, as you can see, I paid $1 for. NFL Quarterback Club 2001. NBA Courtside 2. Let's see, moving on to the stack, we got Deadly Arts. Aero Fighters, as I said. NBA In the Zone 99. World Cup 98. True winner. And NBA Live 2000. So I was able to lot all of these up, 15 games total, and I was able to get some pretty sweet games. So let me put those up. So I'm gonna do a quick jump. I'm gonna show you guys what I got in that trade when I come back. So I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so I mentioned that I had traded those 15 crappy sports games off for a couple of really great staple Nintendo 64 games, and they finally came in. I got 4 of them, and I was able to value this at around $100 US. And I think you guys are going to see like why. So first up, I got a copy of 007, The World Is Not Enough. I wanted to check this one out for a minute now. I've heard some really good things about it. Haven't gotten to play it yet, but it looks like a pretty good time. Then next up is Mortal Kombat 4 on the Nintendo 64. I don't know if I'll keep this one in the collection or not. I don't really care for Mortal Kombat very much, but I don't know, I feel like I should have some kind of Mortal Kombat on Nintendo 64 because there's a couple of them on the system. And so I guess in terms of value though, World Is Not Enough is priced at around 15 bucks on eBay. And then Mortal Kombat 4 is going for around 20. So then next up we have a true staple Nintendo 64 game that I almost can't believe I didn't have, and that's Diddy Kong Racing. I don't know why I didn't have this in my collection, but I'm super glad to add it to my collection now. This is going for around $20, $22 on eBay, so this is a great pickup, and I'm really happy to add it to the collection. It will be staying in the collection. I just said collection like 12 times. And lastly, this is arguably the best pickup of the trade and everything. It's a copy of Gauntlet Legends on Nintendo 64. This game's going for around 40 bucks right now, which is, you know, kind of crazy that some of these N64 games are getting up there in price finally. But yeah, so really happy to add this one to the collection. I'm happy to add all 4 of these to the collection because you have to think, like, I probably only paid $1 each for all those games, and to trade $15 worth of stuff that I paid for $100 worth of stuff, I mean, come on now. So that's why I think trading off sports games is probably the best thing you can do when it comes toward having them in your collection, is just hoard them all up and then, you know, post on a Facebook group or post on a Reddit page, something like that. Like, hey, I got these N64 or Super Nintendo or Dreamcast games, whatever. I got all of these. Anybody wanting to make a trade? Anybody interested in them? And, you know, you can probably get somebody who will be willing to make that trade just because they don't want to spend money on crappy sports games. Nobody does. So just be sure to play it smart with sports games. That's the one thing I always tell people, is play it smart when it comes to sports. But yeah, so that is going to do it for our collecting tip of the day. If you guys like this video, like it down below, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, all that, you know, wonderful stuff. If you guys like this series and want to hear more of my tips and whatnot, let me know in the comments below. And if you have a tip for me, you know, just tell me, because I am always down to learn something new about retro gaming. So yeah, you know, have a wonderful day, night, whenever you're watching this YouTube, and peace.